welcome back to Katowice. This is ESL Legendary Series. We have the second semifinals in front of us happening, and with me, Ekop and Elki. How are you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing great.
So you were casting the last matches, right? Correct?
Yeah, the last match is between Elskuta and Silver Name. And also the previous match of AKAWonder when he made the comeback.
Well, so you know the storyline of one of the players, and we have two Spanish players battling against each other this time. So it will be something new when it comes to open tournaments, because usually we see a wide variety of players' backgrounds, but now we have two Spanish players in the semi-final. Anyone else pops out to the mind when it comes to Spanish community for you guys?
I mean, there's plenty of players that are from Spain. Most of them are unfortunately not that well known because they are not part of a high-profile team. Like AKAWonder in this particular scenario is the exception. But I'm pretty sure that the more open tournaments we see, the more Spanish players we will see make a name for themselves.
Yeah, there's a lot of professional players in card games in general from Spain. It's a popular hobby and that region, so I'm assuming they will be having more players from Spain in Hearthstone 2 in the upcoming year also, and this year, you know, still it's only March and we have so many tournaments, and now will be almost done. We have two matches left, one semi-final and one of the finals. But what I wanted to talk about is we have seen AKAWonder in many top finishes, but he was always lacking something, right? Was it luck? Was it maybe some stuff that he wasn't prepared enough for the tournaments? What do you guys think?
It's a little bit of a combination of both. I would say I wouldn't say honestly that he was prepared 100% for every tournament he attended. And sometimes he also made mistakes at some tournaments. If we think back at DreamHack Winter, he made some mistakes there. But he's always performing solid. Like, he's always very solid, and it reflects in his results as well. Like, he's always in this top 8 spot.
Yeah.
And this is why he is like at the 10th spot right now in the Gozo Gamers rankings, because of this consistency. So AKAWonder definitely deserves where he is right now, but he still needs that breakout win just to put an emphasis on his whole career so far.
Yeah, and that's something that many players are lacking, right? They perform well, but it's to some point when the luck matters more, but they need still to improve as a player in general, right? And AKAWonder is at that point when I think he needs to improve to have that chance to win a tournament, and maybe this time that's his moment, right? He was in so many top 8 spots already. So we have now the players and the picks and the bans. If I'm not mistaken, I'll need to check it. We have Druid and Paladin against each other. We don't see the bans yet. Espumito has banned Mage, and AKAWonder was playing a Freeze Mage, correct?
That is correct. AKAWonder is the Freeze Mage, and
and AKAWonder banned a Warrior. So yeah, obvious plan, right? You want to ban Warrior when you're playing Freeze Mage, but Espumito just saw that plan through AKAWonder and ban his Mage in like a counter, right?
All right.
Any predictions, guys?
Sorry?
Any predictions, Elki?
Any predictions? I think AKAWonder has to be the favorite in that spot. And so,
but do you think that because he's so consistent when it comes to the top finishes, or is it because of his lineup?
It's both because of his consistency, and also he has more experience than those guys, right? So like just being on stage like many times, it really helps a lot, because like some of those mistakes that you wouldn't make when you're playing at home focused, but it's always kind of distracting to play on stage, and you have like added pressure, and the experience is pretty valuable in those spots.
Okay, yeah, that sounds correct, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I would give it to anyone, honestly, because we've seen both those players get the reverse sweeps in the...
AKAWonder was 0-2
down,
exactly.
Right? Both those players were 0-2 down and managed to take the series in the reverse sweep. So anything, if there's a matchup where anything can happen, it's this one right here.
Anything can happen, but it's not going to happen in this matchup, because Espumito doesn't play it.
Yeah, the anything can happen is not in this player's lineup. And now we see that Espumito opens up with a Secret Keeper.
They both have pretty good starting hands.
Yeah,
too.
I would say that
Dream starting hands almost, like while Golf and Keeper and Wrath is like...
There's only Innervate lacking in that Druid opening hand. Innervate?
Nope. Oh, okay.
Well, it's not bad. Like, Force of Nature is a good removal against Paladin.
And Keeper to Minibot is also pretty great.
Now we'll see an interesting point for the Paladin, because he has turn 1 Secret Keeper, but he also has 2 drops, right? So he would favor dropping a 2 drop instead of evolving, I would say, the Secret Keeper, because it's more important to have more bodies on the floor against the Druid. And now you can see also the power of Secret Keeper.
Wow,
Even though it's a 1 drop, you don't want to risk double secrets on turn 2 and having a 3-4 minion staring at you.
I mean, it's just convenient for AKAWonder to do this play as well, because it fits his curve properly. You deal with the Secret Keeper right away, so you don't risk like a double secret, for example, and the Secret Keeper getting out of range. And you don't really get punished too much for using up your coin, because you have the perfect curve with the Wild Growth as a follow-up, and then into the Keeper of the Grove if you need to, or Wrath Hero Power.
That's even better now, because the Keeper of the Grove is the perfect counter to the Juggler.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you play mini-bot, I mean, obviously, Espumito couldn't know that, but if he plays a mini-bot, then it's like, you still probably kill a Keeper just to damage it out, but it's still a bit more awkward. Now it's like just a perfect counter.
Okay, and now we have seen that Espumito played the Knife Juggler, right? And it's the best answer to Darnas's Aspirant, and now it would have been perfect for AKAWonder to play, though, the Darnas's Aspirant into mini-bot. Although, like, the mini-bot is more minion with the oh my god, he survives more, right?
Yeah. And
So-
now it's a lot of options too. You could Varfate, you could Darnassus, or you could White Wolf, because Darnassus is a minion that Espumito is gonna have to trade into just because of the power to get a 4 drop.
What about Master of Battle? Is that enough threat to not play the Darnassus Aspirant?
Yeah, I think if you want to play a card that trades with the Juggler, it should be Wrath and not Darnassus, because Darnassus can get punished, as you said, by Master for Battle, for example. And yeah, but Wild Growth, I like it more because it like curves out properly. Like, it's the perfect spot to play it because it curves you out, and you can play the Keeper in the next turn to deal with the Knife Juggler. There's no way Espumito can protect it unless he has a Kogga Hammer.
There's a
That's
problem
true.
though that will arise to in front of AKAWonder, because right now, most likely, there will be mini-bot played and one of the secrets, right? And then you have a problem when you
It's
have
an Avenge, right?
if it's an Avenge and you're facing a 5/4 creature that has Divine Shield.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem for the Druid. And how do you solve it when you just used the Keeper to silence it?
Well,
to kill the Knife Juggler, right?
There's like Wrath Hero Power if you assume that the 5/4 will trade into the Keeper, and then like you can Wrath Hero Power it down, for example. So that's a possibility that was at AKAWonder's disposal, but yeah, it's obviously not an Avenge here, as we can see. Noble Sacrifice has been played by Espumito.
Doesn't know though, right? So it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's always difficult. That's like the biggest thing about secrets. Obviously, is like they're like so different, like to play around.
But what do you think? Why Noble Sacrifice instead of just Competitive Spirit? Because the Competitive Spirit here is guaranteed to have an effect on the board, right? And your opponent will not for sure use a hero power to attack this turn. So you basically say to your opponent, yeah, you can have the secret bluff, you know, just...
Yeah, I'm not
it
sure
doesn't-
why actually.
I don't care about the Noble Sacrifice, I just wanted to play a card, right? But it doesn't really matter. And you will, having a 3/3 on your turn with a Divine Shield already, I think it's more important to have than anything else.
Fine, it's AKAWonder was going for Living Woods and
Wow,
Trigger
he
and Trigger
didn't
is-
develop
Trigger
the...
is
Yeah, exactly. He basically wanted maybe to bait for the Avenge as well, right? He wanted to see if the Avenge procs, and also if Redemption procs, because if it's Redemption, then you can like hero power the Knife Juggler away. And if it's Avenge, then you can like wait a turn, get hit, and then use the Keeper of the Grove afterwards to silence the mini bot. Divine Shield gone and the buff gone.
I like that move though from Espumito. Just a Keeper of Ulduman to build up the board and still have the Blessing of Kings available to buff to a...
Yeah, it's a great move, because if he did Blessing of Kings, then the Keeper would have been so much
Devastating,
power. So
right?
it was devastating, because then he would have a 2/2 on board, and now he can't really silence it. I mean, it's still a decent target, but if you silence it, you still have like a 2/2 and a 3/4 on board, which is like...
The only problem with the Blessing of Kings on the 3/3 on the Keeper of Ulduman is the fact that it's in range of Big Game Hunter right now.
Which
right?
is in AKAWonder's hand,
Yeah,
in fact. Yeah.
Yes.
When I started the sentence, I mean when I wanted to start the sentence, there was no Big Game Hunter yet, so I said it's a great move because you have a huge minion and most likely there's only one Big Game Hunter in your opponent's deck, so there's a small chance of that happening. But
now you can actually Blessing of Kings it again.
and it will be a 6/6, so it's not out of range of Big Game Hunter. And it's a really big
Yeah.
minion that demands a swipe or a second keeper or a druid of the claw charged minion.
Yeah, but second keeper, you have to guess it's pretty unlikely because you just use one, right?
Exactly.
So would it be Blessing of Kings and competitive? But then you don't want to play competitive spirit because it's gonna turn into a 7/7 and you can.
That is true. However,
Although,
you will
yeah.
still get an attack.
Yeah,
with
you get
that
one more
7/7.
attack, right? So it's
And then you push your opponent to play a
Yeah.
free mana minion into turn 6.
What I find interesting here is that he Espumito chose to go for the trade here. Is the Keeper of the Grove really that threatening to you? Wouldn't you just rather put the Druid down to 18, to 13? I mean.
Well,
yeah, maybe, but I think
plays around
also,
Savage Roar, right?
Yeah, he plays around Savage Roar, and like it's unlikely it's a number sack, but still, like if he doesn't have the keeper, then you can't really check for the secret, and then he's like,
Oh yeah, that's a good point. You can check for the second Noble Sacrifice when you you probably wouldn't play Noble Sacrifice when you leave a keeper on the board, right? Makes no sense. Good
Yeah,
point.
probably.
But now for AKAWonder is another hard task because you have a secret and you have no idea what secret it is, and there are so many options, right? You have Competitive Spirit, second Noble Sacrifice, might be one of the two Avengers, and then also might be Redemption, and you don't want to kill the 6/4 into Redemption. That Redemption's a mini bot that is 2/1 with,
Yeah.
with the Divine Shield
that's
again.
like the worst. But you don't really want to key it into an Avenge either, because it's gonna make it like a 6/5 keeper Ulaman, which is gonna be like.
So he goes for the Avenge play, I would say. He just says, okay, you can deal the damage because you're Paladin. If that's Avenge, of course. You can deal the damage because you're not bursty enough to kill me anyway. And I will have a comeback mechanism with Big Game Hunter next turn to kill it.
But this is what I mean. This is a play that AKAWonder might have not done if Espumito chose to go face there, because then he wouldn't be able to afford taking that damage anymore. He had to he would have been forced to do some more aggressive move. Do some aggressive move, like play Force of Nature, for example, just to clear a mini bot.
Yeah, that's true. But then he could have just used also the keeper to trade into the 3/4 and have more resources. He wouldn't have need to. To hero power into it, right?
To some extent, you'd rather not be super aggressive against the druid when he might have a way of making a comeback because you're low on cards and the paladin cards are not burst at all. So you might not have the option to kill your opponent after you guess out, right? But at the same time, I'm a big fan of just being super aggressive player and asking the questions. So I would probably go face there. But I see the reasoning why would you go for the trade. But now he will get punished so hard.
Best value ever from the Big Game Hunter. Actually,
the trigger will be pulled instantly. Look at that Big Game Hunter flying out of the hand.
Shredder follow up as well. So good.
So now you can clear the board completely, and he's gonna have 3 minions on board. It's like super threatening, and Espumito only has a consecration, which is not bad. But it's not
it's
gonna be
always
enough.
2 damage.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's actually if he trades with with the Darnassus into the 1/1.
You think it would trade? I think you just should now attack face because you have 7 damage, right?
They did trade.
Yeah, of course. I mean, why would you leave that 1/1 alive? What if
you saw Blessing of Kings?
I mean, what if he draws? What if he has another buff? Why risk it?
Yeah, sometimes they play 2 Blessing of Kings as well, right? I mean, it's possible, and also like just if you play Mysterious Challenger, also it makes it like much harder to remove like a 4/3. It's much harder.
Fair.
Let's see what pops out of the Shredder.
Doomsayer. Actually, that's not
pretty good.
bad.
Yeah. I mean, he's not gonna be able to clear it, and now it's like super awkward for Espumito because he doesn't have cards, and he can't really play the Secret Keeper. Who's gonna just get traded instantly, but
he can
he can't just like not play it either, right? So it's just like
he needs the Mysterious Challenger, Dr. Boom, or Tyrion, the bombs that he has in his deck, right? Without those bombs, when you come to the late game, you can see how the deck is built. Like if it doesn't hit one of the 4 bombs that he has in his deck, he's running out of gas super fast. Because he relies on that Mysterious Challenger, not only because it's a powerful card in itself, but on the fact that it pulls out the weak cards from your deck and it thins out the cards that don't want to draw. So then you have bigger percentage of drawing the cards that have actual impact on the game without spending 1 mana on 1 card.
You might have a Divine Favor too, right? Sometimes some of them play one Divine Favor. It can be really good against some Reno Lock or like control decks.
Yeah, that usually helps that problem, but Divine Favor is a problematic card sometimes in itself, because it can sometimes be a dead
Yeah,
card.
it can be dead for sure, yes. And now it's like AKAWonder is gonna have to decide if he wants to heal with the Ancient of Lore or if he wants to draw cards.
Well, it looks like he's going for healing.
I mean, he knows his opponent has no cards for now, right? So it's like, he could play it safe.
Oh, look, there it is!
What a play with that heal. We have seen that in DreamHack Bucharest, PGL Bucharest, the event that we had last week, when a player played an Ancient of Law to draw a card when he was playing against Aggro Paladin right before the Divine Favor draw, and this would have been the same situation, but it wasn't so obvious to heal instead of the draw, right?
Yes.
Because you were not sure that he is playing the Divine Favor.
Also, I think actually Espumito, if AKAWonder was doing his research and was spectating the game, I think we saw Espumito have that Divine Favor in his quarterfinal match.
If that's true, then it's very nicely played by AKAWonder, and he's done his research.
You could have traded before playing the Divine Favor, so he took one more damage, I think, Espumito. Because he played Divine Favor and then he traded the Trog.
Oh yeah, right, correct.
It's very minor, but sometimes like if you lose to like 1 damage,
yeah,
like
then you feel bad.
The perfect 1 damage they load is just
it's
like
not necessarily a mistake though. What I mean, maybe Espumito had something he wanted to draw that would have forced it, like that would have made him not attack into the Trog at all.
Second Consecration?
Really? They usually don't play Second Consecration, right?
I mean, we don't know what Espumito. Maybe Espumito just forgot about the Trog as well. So
Yeah, well,
it's very easy to forget about those actually, because it's just like
you never see that card. Like you never play against.
Sometimes you just don't see many of those cards at all, right? Because you're not playing Arena, you don't care about those.
And Boom is coming out, and there's no more big game hunter either, so it's gonna be.
But it might be the end of the game if it's a Savage Roar being drawn. No, in an Innervate.
Oh, you
but
can still draw Savage Roar with a.
Still one chance to draw the Savage Roar with the Wild Growth into excess mana.
Boy. It all comes down to this.
Detention. And excess mana is drawing more card, which is a shade. What a disappointment.
Yeah, but you can still Force of Nature and find a way to clear this, probably, right? Not completely, but...
Well, yeah, he can. Clear
Force
the
of
boom.
Nature, Hero Power, and innovate shit after he trades the boom bots and find a way to clear. I would say.
Oh, the boom bots can decide the fate of this game.
Yeah.
It's something I don't really want to admit, but
It does sometimes. It's difficult. It's a difficult way to do it. Actually, do you want like?
So you want to? I think you want to Force of Nature first and attack into one boom bot because you don't really care. I think one
attack with your
face
or
dies. You also maximize the chance of the boom bot not hitting the face. But now the way he did it. Oh, this is really interesting.
Okay.
He chooses to ignore the rest of the board. Okay.
Well, it's only 4 damage.
Whoa.
If the bombs will not hit face.
Oh, this is such.
The Doctor 10. No, wait, it's Doctor 11.
But it's pretty good combo. Mysterious Challenger Shredder. It's just like.
You think? Fills out the curve perfectly.
Do you want to trade the boom bots first into the? Well,
what does that change? You will play the Mysterious Challenger anyway, right?
It's probably not gonna change.
Oh. Wow. Oh, okay, that was unfortunate.
Unfortunate for who?
So, we have seen one Noble Sacrifice. We have seen
the Competitive Spirit.
Spirit, and we have seen. That's it. So Redemption, Noble Sacrifice, and Avenge.
We've seen Avenge, right? Yeah, yeah. We avenged the mini-bot.
Yeah, but that's the second Avenge.
Yeah.
First Redemption and only Redemption, most likely.
So there's no more secrets.
And Noble Sacrifice.
But this is
it doesn't really matter,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Like, this is it. Like AKAWonder is drawing that here.
Okay, you can try to get a Doomsayer, right?
Doomsayer once again.
You can try.
Oh my god, if that will happen again.
Once more with feeling. Let's do this.
He'll be flapping his arms for like 2 days straight. Unless it lands on the Palace Shredder. Oh. No. And that's it. Unfortunately, we see it before it happens because he already conceded, so we know it's not Doomsayer.
Yeah.
I knew it is a Crocolisk. I knew it before he draws.
Yeah, and Secret Paladin takes it down.
Yeah, 1-0 for the Secret Paladin, but it was a more of an honest fight right? Because the Paladin didn't draw the 6 challenge in turn 6.
Yeah, and Druid had a pretty good.
He had a
starting hand.
decent
He has a
starting
decent
hand.
starting hand and decent answers to the.
Anything that comes to mind that could have been changing the pace of the game? It would have been like done differently.
I think like maybe Espumito could have won the game earlier.
By going face instead
if
of
you would
trading
be
into-
going like more
instead of
aggressive,
trading-
with 6-6.
trading into-
Yeah,
the keeper?
that's my opinion personally. But overall the end justifies the means. So yeah, well played. And Espumito takes the first game, and now he has to play a different deck. He has to play either his Shaman or his Warlock.
Divine Favor was key card actually, because it gave him like a mini bot and boom.
Yeah, that was a really
If
important
he drew like a random secret and then the mini bot, he would have been way behind, I think.
Yep. And now again, AKAWonder is behind when starting the match. His last match was 0-2, and then he make a reverse sweep, so he probably doesn't want to see that again. But he would rather just win 3-1 or something like that.
Yeah, naturally, you never want to be in a
Yeah.
losing situation. Even like the calmest guy can feel the pressure sometimes in that situation. And
especially when you're playing against like such high stakes, right?
yeah, exactly.
It's not even about the cash. I mean, of course, it's a nice to have it, right? But first place gets 15 points for the Hearthstone World Championships towards the winter preliminaries, right? Sorry, spring preliminaries. And 15 points almost, I would say, they actually guarantee you
Yeah, pretty much.
the placement, right? To play in the tournament, in the preliminaries. Then you have 10 points for being in the finals. Just for being in the finals, you get 10 points. That's also a huge factor.
Yeah.
You don't have to like grind the ladder.
Being able to have the opportunity to qualify for the most high prestigious tournament in all of Hearthstone, that's just every competitive Hearthstone player's dream.
And we have a Zoo Mirror now, and AKAWonder has the dream starting hand because he has Im-Gang Boss into Peddler into... he has Flame Imp into Peddler into Im-Gang Boss, which she's going first. Is like, can never ask for anything better, really.
And by the way, to the all viewers that are watching us right now, when we're talking about spring preliminaries, we'll have winter, like the next stage of the first qualifiers for the World Championships,
Yeah, the
done
Winter Championships.
next weekend.
Yeah.
So something to watch.
First, it's going to be the NA Championships
Yes.
next week, and the week after, it's going to be the EU Championships.
So action-packed 2 weeks of Hearthstone. Be sure
Both
to watch
players-
that.
Yeah, both players have really strong starting hands here with like the calling out the Creeper, and then you can probably use the Direwolf to trade into the the Juggler, and then AKAWonder is gonna follow up with the in-game boss, which is one of the strongest minions in this matchup as
Yes.
well. Like early game is just so strong.
Luckily for-
luckily for Espumito, he has the power of overwhelming, but otherwise it's so hard to answer usually.
And there are like 2 cards that define this matchup, and as you said, one of them is the Im-Gang Boss. If not answered immediately with a 4 damage attack, it just stacks so much HP and attack points, easily buffable by the rest of your deck, that it makes a huge swing in the tempo. And the other card that, in my opinion, is one of the most important.
They both have it now.
Yes,
The
is the Implosion.
yes.
That's the card that swings the board, especially when you have also a Knife Juggler. So this is like the perfect setup if you have Implosion for next turn, right? You play a Knife Juggler on an empty board because you have the PO and a trade with the 1/1.
That's true, except he's gonna be imploded himself, so like Knife
Exactly.
Juggler is gonna get imploded.
So he's not playing around his around the Implosion from his opponent, but I think it's the correct
But you
way.
can play around the implosion in this situation, I think.
Yeah, and
But
look at
it's
that!
just like-
Look at that Implosion. It's already being picked up. There's nothing better than this.
There's nothing he's gonna draw that's not gonna...
Exactly. I mean, that's the only card that deals
Oh,
with
it's
this.
2. Oh, too bad. Balanced.
Well, AKAWonder shouldn't complain. At least he had the implosion, and it didn't get blown up by the
Yeah,
opponent.
but I mean, it's still like a really good... I mean, it's not the greatest value, but just the fact that you can build a board while killing a minion, especially because Zoo doesn't have like direct damage.
Oh, look at
right?
that! It's actually a Void Caller. I don't think we've seen that before from Espumito.
Well, to my knowledge, when you have a Void Caller, you also have a Mal'Ganis in the deck.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, sometimes you only have Doomguard, mostly Mal'Ganis, yes.
Yeah, it's probably Mal'Ganis.
And Doomguard,
So
right?
it's going to be like the classic Zoo version that we've seen in the past.
Wow,
way
and
back.
he like...
And
AKAWonder gambled here because he just like soul fire the Void Caller
Yeah, and it got rewarded.
He really called like Espumito's bluff. Espumito just put it out because it's just like
Yeah.
'cause
Usually
Espumito
there's
is scary, right?
two ways of dealing with that Void Caller. You either kill it instantly and you see if you lose the game or not, or and you take the gamble, or you just let it live and you let your opponent trigger it at some point of the game.
Yeah, true. Of course, in that case, you
You got
guarantee your
four,
opponent to
four.
get a demon at some point, right?
The 4 implosion is pretty.
Yeah, that's a
really
pretty good card.
pretty good,
right?
pretty good
Pretty,
roll.
pretty good card, and both players have seen like the end of both ends of the stick. 1-2, 1-4.
But AKAWonder is still in a great spot here.
Yeah, he actually is. Like when you see the Void Terror lurking in the hand,
Yeah.
and that egg there behind a wall of imps.
This matchup is all about the board control, and now AKAWonder has a really strong lock on it.
Yep, that's correct.
That was was crazy. Like the in-game boss is so strong that even though he had like one of the best answer to it with the PO, he still like had to trade 2 creatures in it and use like 1 PO just to get rid of it.
But look at that, Doom God. It's
Yeah.
just 2 turns too late. Too late to the party. Where's the Void Caller? Where are
Just
they?
a little bit too late.
Yeah,
He
now
called
it's,
off the party.
It's very awkward for Espumito now. So it's like no good play really. I mean, there's no play that you would like to do really. Like, I guess you can Sergeant Argus. It's pretty bad, but then if you don't want to Doom Guard into a 2-1 either,
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
or just play the egg. and
Well,
pass.
the egg is an okay play against
now
the
you can
Knife
just-
Juggler, right?
You can just play the egg and
And pass the turn.
pass the turn and
Yeah.
activate it next turn, but it's very slow and
Well, next and most likely will we just
And also,
PO,
like, what-
Abusive Surgeon, and... Oh, wait, how much damage is that?
actually you could just that's
He can trade with the
Yeah,
egg and the
exactly.
spider.
yeah, that's what
That's it.
Just
what it's
just
gonna
kill
do.
it and,
Just
and
trade
play
with the
that Void
egg.
Terror.
Yeah, that's like the best
Oh
play by far, and
my.
then use his Void Terror too.
Yeah, the Void Terror will be massive. Holy crap. That's like 4-6, sorry, 4-2 into a 3-3. You
7-5,
sum that, and
7-5
then
and
you spawn a
4-4,
4-4, and you get 2 Juggles.
I mean,
Yeah.
saying this is a massive play would be an understatement. This is like so insane. How is Espumito ever gonna get back with a board like this for AKAWonder?
It's a better Illidan,
Yeah,
because it actually spawned a 4-4.
it looks really bad for Espumito now. Is
Where's the Twisting
He has
Nether?
no
But
option.
now there's 7 mana. It wouldn't help. Well, I guess in those situations you say, I lose.
you can try to play like the Void Walker and the Surgeon and Doom Guard, but it's probably just
Just delaying the inevitable.
yeah.
In a situation like this, it might be smarter to just concede, to not give AKAWonder additional information about your deck.
But I mean, like, does he? What do you think he has something that's so surprising?
The low tip
Once-
might be one of those cases, right? When you don't want to show your opponent that you have a low tip in the deck.
For example,
yeah, but don't most Zoo decks have low tap now?
I wouldn't say it's like,
I think it's
especially when you play double Void Callers.
like, yeah, low tap is so powerful when you're Zoo. I think it's just
Well, you know.
yeah. Maybe you have so little chance to win now that you might concede.
And the Doomguard will finish up the game. The Knife Juggler just adds insult to the injury, salts the wound, sorry. And it's enough to finish up the game. So, AKAWonder equalizes the series 1-1.
Yeah,
Espumito will have to play with the Zoo at some point of the match, most likely. He'll probably stay with it because AKAWonder won with the Warlock when he still has Paladin and Druid. Which one would you prefer? Druid or Paladin now? If you will wear AKAWonder.
generally doesn't really matter too much.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it does. It does. It really doesn't.
They're both slightly unfavored, I guess, right?
Against the Zoo?
Yeah, I would think.
I
they're
would
both-
say that
the Paladin.
Druid might be better if you just get the Innovate Keeper.
Really, I think maybe, but then it's like only one of the outcome. Like overall, I think Paladin is probably better against Zoo.
Okay. Well,
I'm not sure. What do you think, Jacob? Do you think Secret Paladin fights better against Zoo or Druid?
I'd say both have a reasonable chance if they draw the correct cards. I mean, they always have to stay ahead of the Zoo player in terms of board presence, and yeah, It's gonna be tough, honestly.
Yeah.
It's
It
gonna be
feels like
tough.
Paladin has more options to get the strong early game with like a secret keeper with secrets or the mini bot and the Mustafa barrel, whereas Druid, if they don't have like
Living roots into
coin
Rav.
with living roots or like the wild growth innovate to the keeper, it can be really tough to come back. Like if they don't play any minions for like 3 turns, it's very, very difficult for them to come back.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
I can definitely see AKAWonder's Paladin getting a win here against Espumito's remaining decks, but Druid will have a hard time against both like the Shaman and the Zulok.
Do you think the Demon Zulok makes it like better against Druid or?
Yeah,
I think it actually does.
Definitely.
Better,
The
right?
Void Caller, throughout the history of Hearthstone, the Void Caller was always like one of the most annoying minions for a Druid to deal with, just because of the Death Rattle being so incredibly powerful.
Like you require your opponent to keep her, to silence the Void Caller, and it's still a 3/4 minion. So basically,
Yeah.
what the Druid will do against that?
Yeah.
Keeper is what he has now in his starting hand with the coin, so it's a great.
At
a
least
great
he
card
has a
also.
turn free play, right? That will probably kill a minion, and he
Yeah.
has a swipe. So double swipe to win the game might also be the case, because that's like very powerful, or at least a Drake Innervate swipe. That's also another option. But Espumito has a good opener anyway.
Oh, he has a Belcher in his Druid. That's interesting.
By the way, there's a big game hunter in that zoo.
Oh
What the
yeah,
hell?
that too. Yeah, usually Druids don't play the Belcher lately, right? They've been playing just like 2 Druid as a close. So maybe it's a bit tech to against the aggro decks. We should
Yeah.
make it like a little bit.
Oh, sometimes
Better.
it was a case in previous metagames when the Druid was just playing, instead of Azure Drakes, was just playing Belchers.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more defensive, just to counter aggressive decks a little bit more. Sometimes they even run Ancient of War if they fancy.
I like that Shield Bearer, to be honest. It's a huge minion that Druid will have a huge problem with. How do you deal with that Shield Bearer? You use it, like,
Yeah,
you know,
have to attack into it many times. I mean, twice with the Keeper or the Grove, I guess.
and it can trade with the help of the Abusive Sergeant.
Yeah, it's a minion you can buff, which is like, especially when you have PO and.
Yeah.
You rather PO and Shield Bearer than a Void Walker usually.
Yeah, the problem is with the Shield Bearer, on its own it does nothing. And you don't really need the taunt, you have a Void Walker right now, so that protects your board as well. Mortal Coil gives him more versatility, I would say, as well. Also, Mortal Coil can be really good in that particular version of Zoo, just in case you have that Void Caller at some point.
Oh yeah,
then
yeah,
you,
that's
then
a
you
good
can
call.
then you can get those
Yeah.
cards that you can cycle through your deck just to get those demons.
And now
And you can finish off your own Void Caller with the Mortal Coil as
that
well.
too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mystery
AKAWonder
solved.
Decision now. I think he wants to keep the coin for next turn probably and coin out the Keeper, but maybe not.
Well, he goes for the Shade of Extremis. That means he wants to attack with it next turn, right? But then it leaves out the Shade of Extremis out in the open, just to be traded with something. Second Dark Peddler, wow, what a draw. That's one of the best cards in Warlock in general, in my opinion. Like, the
Yeah.
Dark Peddler is just such an amazing value
You're so
card.
strong.
Wow, with Flame Imp. No, please take the Angry Chicken.
Flame is
Never
pretty good,
chicken.
Pretty good.
Yeah, you just slammed it Flame Imp.
Yeah,
It's turn 3.
for sure.
1 mana, 3/2 minion.
Yeah, the reason why Peddler is so strong is that because it's like.
As for me to considering, is he gonna have mind control deck? Yes, no.
Oh yeah, that's true. Peddler is so strong because he gives you so many. First, like the Warlock 1 mana cards, they're pretty strong because you get like PO and Flame Imp and Void Walker. They have like a wide range of really great cards, and then it's like so versatile for your mana curve because like you can really like have many more options to use all your mana with one drop.
Now this turn looks really horrible for AKAWonder. Using the coin bites him back right now. The
Yeah.
shade doesn't look so promising, right? He lacks the Wrath, he lacks an example Living Roots, he lacks an
Yeah.
Innervate. If he would have an Innervate in his hand, look at how perfect would have been. You just slam the Belcher or the Druid of the Claw on turn 3, then you curve out with a 4 mana swipe or the Palta Shredder, and then you slam another 5 drop.
Yeah, it was very likely that AKAWonder would have been punished by coining out this shade because then, because of that, basically, you decrease your chance that you actually have something to play. There's almost no 3 drops at all in the Druid deck, and playing a Rat, for example, is a little bit mana inefficient because yeah, it's 1 mana unused.
Oh, I would definitely
but
like
he would
to
have loved
attack.
the Wrath, right? He would have loved the Wrath anyways, even
Yeah.
if it's not mana super efficient.
Yeah, of
That's
course,
what-
of course. I mean, it's something at least. Yeah,
But to be honest, I would really love to see the attack from the hero power to one of those minions. You don't want to telegraph the swipe, but you also want to say, well, I'm kind of having a really bad draw, so
Yeah. Also,
maybe
if-
I'll just use hero power to kill something next turn.
Yes. Also, like in some situations, you don't want to telegraph the swipe, but it's not like Zoo has any way to like really play around it, because like it's just gonna kill one more minion. But then because the juggler has 2 health, it's not like you cannot not play this minion, right?
Yeah.
So
But
only-
at the
the
same time,
only-
he was so behind, he can't really afford to not do anything, right?
Yeah.
And
The only drawback is that if he makes a peddler at 2-1, then the peddler will trade into the shade anyways, like it happened, right? So it's like
true, but it might also change the way the Zoo player will play in the future because of that trade, that single trade, right? Doesn't look bad, unless, well, you don't want to play the implosion, that's for sure.
well, you just in a situation like this, you just have to ignore the Keeper of the Grove and keep pushing face damage. Keeper of the Grove stats are quite insignificant at this
What
stage.
about
Yeah.
Abusive Sergeant and
But if you
2-2
go-
and trade?
Yeah, if you go for the Abusive Sergeant here, then you will definitely trade into
we
it.
have to go for abusive, no? We should abusive an egg probably.
But you have PO for the egg, so it's fine still, and you want to protect your flame imp, right? You are pushing damage anyway, so doesn't really matter if you lose the 2-2 because in the long run your flame imp adds up the damage in one turn, right?
Yeah, and now the Mortal Coil is gonna prove very useful to get rid of the last life of the
that's
Belcher.
cool.
Oh yes.
Actually, I just thought about it. Is he playing double Abusive Surgeons? He has to, right? Could
Yeah,
be.
probably.
Then he can use that Big Game Hunter on a minion that has 5 attack.
Yeah, that is true. That is one of the synergies you have within that Zulok, thanks to Abusive Sergeant.
So what is he gonna do? Do you think he's gonna?
Yeah, he has to
Argus?
play
He
that
has to
Defender of
Argus,
Argus.
right?
Yeah, Defender of Argus is such a great play that it's not only about the stats. It saves the minion, of course, the Abusive Sergeant, because you can attack into the slime and still have a 3/1 minion on board. But it's very important to have that taunt.
Actually, he could
keyword
attack
on the
if
board.
he wants to play around swipe. You can attack with the flame imps. That's pretty good too.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like one less
exactly what I'm
damage,
saying.
one less damage, but then it's like so much stronger against swipe.
That's true.
And even against Force of Nature, it's also quite alright because Force of Nature only kills the 2 taunters and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now he's probably gonna swipe Wrath. Still not that. There's like no clear way for him to.
What about Pile the Shredder into Wrath, a Flame Imp?
Maybe he's gonna. That seems pretty slow.
Yeah,
It's like really threatened. It's really
you need
threatened.
to deal with the board as soon as possible here. You cannot afford to take too much damage anymore. Druid already at half HP.
But what's the winning play? Because you need to think about winning, right? And if you want to be faster, after, like, without seeing the Force of Nature here, I think Pile the Shredder would have proved a lot of value in the upcoming turn, because you're still behind. Your opponent's board didn't change at all, and you have nothing on board.
Yeah, unfortunately, Pile to Shredder, the estimated value you can get out of it is just insignificant in that situation. So just clearing more damage and maybe hoping to draw something good next turn that helps you clear it even more, or just clean and then put something on the board at the same time. But unfortunately, this is very, very unlikely for the Druid in general. Once the game has reached this point.
Because he's probably gonna ignore the Shredder, right? You get more value of the Shredder when your opponent has to kill it, but then if you can ignore it, you still get
Yeah.
good value, but not quite as much.
Okay, so now Inner Fate draw from the Azure Drake. Nope.
I can see.
That's about it. Espumito takes the lead. 2-1 against AKAWonder. He's closer on match point to get points and get more cash.
Yes.
So he's on the route to get there. Looks
strong
focused.
matchup. Very strong matchup for Zoo, and he had a really great start, and AKAWonder basically could never take the board.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Yeah, the Druid, as we said before, it's gonna struggle, and it did struggle indeed against the Zulok. So now, Espumito down to his last deck, he will have to play Shaman
Which is the face shaman, right?
Exactly, and Druid also has a hard time against that.
Yep.
Sure, like AKAWonder could take the Paladin here because it might have a better matchup, and then just get the momentum going for himself at least. Yeah, maybe just because of that momentum, get a little bit of an edge, hopefully. Maybe emotions will play a role at that point. Like when it all comes down to the game 5, when so much is on the line, then nerves might play a role in that scenario, and this might give Aka, the more experienced player in this scenario, the edge. But we saw, like in the quarterfinals as well, Espumito already said in the Bruins interview that he is calm and collected. He doesn't, nerves don't affect him, and we saw that here as well.
Okay, so the players are getting ready. There's also a assassin behind AKAWonder. No, he left. Never mind. The doors are closing. So, you think AKAWonder will stick to his druid, or will switch to the paladin to play against the shaman?
I think he's gonna switch to Paladin, just as I said, to get the momentum going. He needs that win, and just to maybe also retain confidence in himself as well. But yeah, it seems like he's going for the druid.
And he shouldn't be very happy with the starting hand.
He's not happy with the starting hand, but at least he has the option to start the game, right? Because you don't want to see an aggro deck having the first hand, usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem with the Shaman having the coin and the additional card as well is just that it gives the Shaman a way higher chance to have a really aggressive and bursty opening. Like you have the additional chance to have that sick Tunnel Truck, Totem Golem, and whatever you need opening. And there's like all of it.
Oh, wow.
That's all he needs, actually. That is all he needs, I think. He can just go Tunnel Truck into Golem into...
He just needs Spirit Walls on top of that.
Yeah.
Tunnel Truck into...
Oh, but AKAWonder has a really great hand too, because he has Living Woods into White Growth.
Oh, look at that, first Spirit.
Swipe, it's pretty strong start as well.
So this is going to be an interesting turn, because obviously there's the option of playing the Tunnel Truck, but you could also Flame Juggler here to deal with one of those 1/1s.
But then what's your plan for Tin 2? Just Totem Golem and you lose the Tunnel Truck synergy?
Yeah, if you go for the Flame Juggler, then your Tunnel Truck basically becomes like worthless.
It's not worthless, but it's getting delayed, right?
Yeah, exactly. The Tunnel Truck effect becomes like delayed.
3-drop, basically.
Because now he's gonna play Golem, and then the next turn he's gonna have 2 mana, and he's gonna have to play.
This is the turn when you just Wrath, right? Because the Wild Growth doesn't really matter at this point, and you know that you have a 3-drop and a 4-drop, and you will not wait for a value swipe. You'll just use it to kill a minion.
Yes, I agree completely. AKAWonder, there's no way he passes up a turn 3 Shade anyway, so might as well Wrath this minion away.
Because otherwise that minion will deal at least 4 damage. And 4 damage for the Shaman sounds like a good card.
Yeah, it adds up pretty fast.
In general, playing against the deck like Face Shaman, you have to deal with all the minion aggression as soon as possible, because you know there's going to be burst waiting at some point, and the more damage, the more damage from the minions you can prevent, the less likely you are to die to the burst.
Yeah, because it's Shaman's strategy usually they just like play minions the first 3-4 turns, and then just like use all the spells in the Doomhammer to finish it.
Okay, well.
So now you could Golem into Golem, right? That's probably better.
Sounds like a good option. Then you have 1 Overload on Tin 3 and 1 Overload on Tin 4, so you can still play the first Spirit. The only problem is that the Tunnel Truck is really kind of sitting there like awkwardly.
Like I said before.
When is my turn?
Yeah, it's a problem, yeah.
Like I said before, the Tunnel Truck will become kind of worthless because he's never going to see some action. Never.
So you would favor the Tunnel Truck on Tin 1 instead?
It is both viable play, I would say. I mean, the Tunnel Truck obviously would have been dealt with immediately, though.
But just as a
AKAWonder would have used Wrath or
you would have a 1/1 more on board.
Yes, but then you use the Flame Juggler. You have the same almost outcome, but you have more powerful minion because it's a 2/3 instead of a 1/3 that you lost to Wrath, right?
Yeah. Both plays were viable in my opinion.
Yeah, but also like it's not like most of the time it's not gonna have Wrath in his hand, right? So
most of the time? I assume they always have it.
Yeah, Wrath is like one of the key cards you need in this matchup to even like have a fighting chance.
Yeah, he needs it, but it's like doesn't really mean it because he threw away all his free cards, so you can't.
So AKAWonder is thinking about innovating Wild Growth this turn just to have that coin value every single turn. The problem is the Innovate might be more valuable as a one-off. I mean, a one-use card
Yeah.
because it can accelerate your 6 drop in this situation or a 7 drop in 2 turns, right?
Yep.
So it might be more valuable than having a static coin each turn.
Yeah, that's true. Especially because he wants to swipe this turn probably.
Oh, keeper, but doesn't prove to be so interesting in this situation unless you will use hero power. So let's say keeper, damage 2, trade with the 1/1, use hero power, kill the totem golem. Next turn, the second totem golem gets killed by Shade of Naxxramas, but you get a lot of damage in the process.
Yeah, you get 6 damage to your face.
That sounds like a horrible idea when you're
I mean,
facing
he's gonna get 3 damage more.
Shaman.
I feel like you can easily just swipe here and ignore the other totem golem if you want to. You can also kill it with your shade immediately, but then you lose your shade, and shade can get more value than that. AKAWonder has the luxury to, I think, take at least one of those totem golem hits because his opening hand was so good against Shaman. He had that living roots, he had that wrath, he had everything he needed to deal with the early aggression from the Shaman. So I think he has the luxury to have the shade in hiding for one more turn here.
Yeah, also it's really good to have the shade even at 1 health, because the shamans, they don't have much pings, right? Only the flame juggler. Otherwise, even if they have, that's what they have now, but like, otherwise, like, I mean, even if he has to kill it with a spell, it's just like, if you waste a lightning bolt to kill your shade, it's kind of like 3 damage less to your face, right? So just one more turn, it's kind of like the same 3 damage, because the spells they have, it's at least 3 damage, right?
Even if it's a Doomhammer attack, it's still fine, right? Because you just use one of the charges to kill a minion, which is not your face, so yeah, that counts. But in this situation, I would say that you want to play Fire Spirits. Still, the Trog is sad.
Trog is never gonna get action.
You're implying something?
I mean, he might.
Yeah, I like the Fire Spirits.
It just gives you such a good board presence and might help the totem golem to punch through even an additional attack next turn.
There's a question. Do you want to push the damage or kill the 1/1? Because if there's a Savage Roar, the 1/1 kills one of the Fire Spirits.
I mean, of course, I think you have to go face.
Wow.
That's the game plan you have as a shaman. You have to push the face damage with those minions, so you can finish off with burn.
He doesn't agree, and now he has a great target for keeper. Probably.
Yeah.
Keeper sounds great.
He has to play
Keeper sounds
right?
awesome.
He has to keep her as a totem golem. Has to be the most. Or he could like hope he can get another wrath and play the Drake and get a wrath and innovate it. That's like,
No, I think this is one of the matchups when you can't really go with the scenario with the slower minion first, because the damage is just so ridiculously fast, stacks up so fast in this matchup that you can't really afford that. You would rather be mana inefficient than dead.
Yeah. Also, like keeper is just so good. Yeah.
That's an universal truth, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like the resources, like what's the point of having like cards and mana if you're just dead, right?
Yeah,
you got like
he shares
you
my
get value
experience.
and you can have like 8 cards in your hand and they're like great cards. You can get a lot of value from it, but you never get the chance to play them. So it goes for the
Kill the left one.
defensive player.
Yes.
Why is the left one?
I don't know. I was just saying.
Because the left one is not the right one.
Oh wow.
And actually, AKAWonder is in a pretty good spot because it's turn 5 and he has 27 health.
Yeah.
And
there's no
Espumito
Doomhammer.
no Doomhammer too, because Doomhammer is the biggest threat, right? Especially with the Rogue Biter.
Yeah. Like, Espumito will hold on to that Rogue Biter as he's holding on to the Trog, but he just wants to, like, his option, if he's not getting the damage done in the first few turns, then his chance to win still the game is just Doomhammer, Rogue Biter, the Rogue Biter.
He's gonna have to trade. That feels bad now because he has to trade. He has to use like a lot of resources to actually trade AKAWonder's minion.
To be fair though, Argent Strider was made for trading, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of course, this part, of course, you have to do it.
While I don't agree with the Totem Golem attacking previously, this is definitely the right call here.
Yeah,
It's worth it, right? To
yeah,
kill
it's the
the
right one.
Shadow
It's the right one for
Giants.
sure. I don't agree, but it's just like, you know, you usually want to go face if you have the spot, but here you can't let the shade leave one more turn. It would just have been.
So this is the spot when you actually ignore the Emperor, because it makes no sense to kill it, right? Your opponent has 2 cards anyway. They have been proven to be insignificant in the race for the damage, because AKAWonder didn't opt to use them even though his turns weren't optimal. Right, so I guess you can just ignore that. Wow, Tiltrog gets some action.
You can ignore it, but it's still gonna be 5 damage to your face every turn.
Yeah, but You
Well,
can't really.
We might actually see a crackle on that Thorsten here.
Yeah, and Gamble, it's like 50-50, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he gets it. 2 mana for 5 mana.
Even if it was like a 4, he still had the Flame Juggler with a 50-50 to finish it off. So technically it was like a 75% plus 50% as well. So
Sounds like 125% of
Yeah.
Oh, Basher is a
certainty.
great card.
That
though.
happens every time in 60% of occasions.
Great top deck for AKAWonder because the Basher is so great here to like soak up the damage. It's gonna be.
Too
really hard
bad
for
there will be a
Espumito.
Doomhammer from the top of the deck. I'm really sad for him.
oh wow, if that happens, man, that's gonna be so sick. Espumito
Yeah, if that doesn't
get it.
happen though, Espumito he has no way to deal with it, and he's just gonna like.
Look at that. Look at that. Oh,
Oh.
so close.
And now you have to.
Well, you roll the totem first? No, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, the totem doesn't matter in this scenario, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna use both Rock Biter and Lightning Bolt to clear this.
Yeah, you need to push that damage from the turret rock, right? Actually, it's not that bad to have that 1/1 here. So, Rock Biter on the 2/3, trade with the Belcher, Lightning Bolt remains.
Oh, no, it's going for.
Actually, that makes the most sense, because you don't care about the damage. So, yeah, you save a minion.
yeah.
Makes most sense, yeah, what I'm talking about.
Espumito now in a spot where he really needs to draw either Doomhammer or at least Ancestral Knowledge. And yeah, if he doesn't get that, then AKAWonder is just gonna outvalue Espumito over time here.
And the Wrath is great value
wow, what a draw. Swipe? Nope.
too.
Still fine though.
Does he have the 2/2 to cycle?
Well, you want to get the Ancient of Law, right? Because that's like your ticket to survive the situation. But at the same time, any kind of card with overload.
Exactly, the
Yeah.
Tunnel Shock is just way too threatening in this particular scenario.
Any spell is gonna be like so much more damage.
And like Ancestral Knowledge top deck would have been devastating.
That's true.
Oh, well, that's one of the cards you don't
It's like
want
the
to
most
see.
useless card.
Yeah.
Not completely useless, but pretty useless.
Does he play Elemental Storms, by the way? Elemental Destruction, sorry?
I don't think so. We haven't seen a single one in the game against Impact.
Yeah, probably not. Well, he healed for 1. That's something.
Oh, the Ancient of Law is here now. It's like the perfect
Heal
draw
it.
for AKAWonder.
Heal yourself. He's not healing himself. He's drawing cards.
Wow.
It's actually interesting. Oh, the draw is awful. I mean, next turn you can still get cycle, but it would rather have minions already
Yeah, but
instead
you
of
have
that cycle.
I don't hate drawing here
Yeah,
because
you have 2 chances to get a Savage Roar for the kill, right? For the kill
Exactly.
next turn.
Okay, okay, makes sense.
Yeah, actually, you have 3 chances. Like
It's-
one
it's
of
very
the draw, you have your natural draw, and then the 2 white growths that you're gonna cycle. So it's like there's 2 Savage Roar left.
But you
in the
could have
deck.
been dead to... No, wait, he only had 2 cards,
It's
never mind.
pretty unlikely.
yeah, Ancestral Knowledge into something.
Well,
It would be very
it would have
unlikely.
been to Ancestral Knowledge into Doomhammer, Rockbiter, Lightning Bolt, that's 2 off.
Yeah, does he know his Lava Shock?
Ah.
Is there any other card that he would not use from his left? Like any kind of damage thing?
For a second I thought that's the minion.
Yeah, they look kind of alike.
But now it
One
looks,
has lasers, the other has blades.
looks so good for AKAWonder because Espumito is forced to use all his damage spells to stay alive and to clear the board.
Agree. So... Oh, and a taunt minion, perfect. So you can up your health points by 1, but just using the hero power, which probably... Oh, wait. What time is that? You still play that as a taunt, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't make a difference. You still push for 5 damage, 6 damage with the hero power, and kill off your opponent next turn. So the Shaman
Probably
had
game, yeah. There's nothing Espumito
Wow.
can do here to come back from.
Yeah, I mean, AKAWonder had a really strong opening hand, to be fair. He had the perfect start to deal with Espumito's early aggression. And yeah, on the back of that strong opening draw, he managed to takes this game and give himself a really good chance to actually still win the series.
Yeah, he
Because
is
now-
on the brink of making a sweep, reverse sweep again. He was down with on a match point, and now he makes the tie actually matter a lot. The last game will be between the Espumito's Shaman, Phase Shaman that we just saw, and AKAWonder Secret Paladin.
What do you think about this matchup, guys? Do you think?
I think the
Phase
Mysterious
Shaman.
Challenger is like super important here. each noble sacrifice is super important also. Sometimes you just keep them in the opening hand. I mean, probably will keep them in opening hand anyway.
Yeah, we saw them. We saw this matchup earlier today. It was also Espumito against Impact, I think, where this matchup happened, and all came down to that mysterious challenger, right? Mysterious challenger, along with a big board, enabling so many buffs, and with a competitive spirit, then it was just completely out of control. Impact basically died in one shot.
Yeah, that's true.
Even with like trading into a secret keeper with his tunnel truck, it still didn't help him survive.
Well, it's a problem that as a shaman, you can't really afford to skip a turn, right? Because you need to deal the damage each single turn. Because most of the decks that are playing against the paladin, they can just ignore the secret paladin for one turn, not trigger the noble sacrifice event redemption process, and just make a comeback next turn with a big trigger, big game hunter or something like that, right? But shaman doesn't have that luxury, right? So he has to deal the damage at single turn, so he has to go for the secrets anyway.
Yeah.
And in the process, as you said, he can just die to a big swing from the mysterious challenger with 10 damage to the face.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happened in Espumito's quarterfinal against Impact, but we'll have to see if he can repeat that scenario.
Mr. is here, but he's
yeah, but he's
away.
starting.
He has to fight away, yes.
Yeah, he's starting, and you can't really afford to keep that against such an aggressive opening.
Do you keep the advantage?
No, I think you just throw away everything, and you need minions for turn 1 to 3.
The only secret that is worth keeping,
right?
yeah, exactly. The only secret that's worth keeping in this matchup is Noble Sacrifice, because it damages, let's say, turn 1 Totem Golem, right? Turn 1 Totem Golem, and then you can finish it off with a shielded mini bot.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like Redemption though, because it's at some point your opponent might be actually thinking about killing a Knife Juggler, and then you get it resurrected, right? So it's not that bad.
Yeah, that's quite alright as well. But you have to have that.
That's what he has to. Knife Juggler.
Oh, look at that!
Knife Juggler into Monster for Barrel. That's like,
wow.
That's really awesome, because for sure
sick.
he's gonna get it resurrected 100%, because you don't want to leave the Knife Juggler on board when the opponent's gonna have 3 mana.
Yeah, that might be the golden ticket to the grand final for AKAWonder if he pulls that off.
But he can still kill it with a lightning bolt. He's still using a lot of resources. Now he's gonna have to.
But then you attack with the Totem Golem, and then you lose the Totem Golem to the attack from the weapon.
Yeah, it's like huge tempo swing. But he has to kill it. Like he can't just like ignore.
Well, you think it might be Noble Sacrifice, so you'll use the Lightning Bolt, but then you'll be very disappointed because your plan was to use Leper Gnome to kill out so you can play Pharaoh Spirit on turn 3, because now he is really in a tough position. Look at Espumito's reaction. Yeah. No, Redemption. What do I do now?
Maybe he attacked.
Mistake?
He attacked too early.
Maybe he attacked faster.
Mistakes made.
Mistakes were made. I do that all the time, actually. I'm so
he did not expect it. He didn't expect the Redemption at all.
You don't see it coming? Wow, 3 times to the face? No.
No, and now he basically, because of that, I mean, ultimately the outcome would have still been the same, right?
Yeah, but he did get 2 damage to the face. So he got like hero powered from Hunter for free.
For free, yeah, that's true. And it might be a relevant factor.
But he get 3 more damage to his face.
No, because he would have died to the weapon anyway. So in the process, he just lost 3 damage. Whoa! Aggressive paladin, look at that.
Yeah, look who's the aggro now.
I actually like that. The aggressiveness from the Knife Juggler. I would love to see that, because your opponent is overloaded. He's on 3 mana, so he can't play Pharaoh Spirits if he wants to reply.
And also, like, I mean, if he plays Pharaoh Spirit, he doesn't really deal with it. He has to trade with his...
He can't play the Pharaoh Spirit, because it's overloaded by 1.
Yeah, and like, also, like, he used the Lightning Bolt, which was like the only spell that's like low mana cost which could deal with it.
Exactly. Interesting. He's now on the back foot. So AKAWonder had a really good opening hand in this matchup.
Yeah, it's
like really sick opening hand.
And he still has a Juggler and a Creeper to play next turn, which is what he probably will go for. Or
yeah, definitely.
I think if probably will play for Juggler and Creeper, right? Because you can trade into anything Espumito plays anyway. So it's like the most powerful.
To be honest, for Espumito, it looks horrible. If you don't draw the Doomhammer, you're losing every single turn the board control, and your minions are kind of not dealing the damage, which is kind of point of the
This
deck,
seems
right?
to be a recurring theme for the Shaman gameplay that we witnessed this tournament. It always came down to like, oh yeah, he needs the Doomhammer or he loses.
Yeah, I mean, Shaman is
It
kind
is
of
the
a deck,
MVP card, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, but when you rely on a single card that much, then
Sure, you rely on 2 cards. You
it's
rely
a
on
little
the
bit
Doomhammer
volatile.
and the Rockbiter.
That's also true. But
But like Shaman is kind of an all-in deck, right? Because against like the other decks that they play, they have such a much weaker minions. Like against Secret Paladin or Zoo, for sure. Like by turn 5, you don't like the board is like over. You can never get it back, right? And so
Yeah.
like you have to like be able to do as much damage as you can before that. And he only did 3 damage by turn 3, so that's not that much.
But this is why I like the version with elemental destruction, because when your opponent has such an explosive start, you have the like nuke button, right? You
Yeah, the reset button.
yeah, exactly. Like Wrath of God, and
What do you
Everything's
guys
gone.
think about this? Do you think it's better to play the Keeper? It's very difficult actually. But you could play the Keeper and boost his own guy, or like play the Juggler and the Creeper.
I think the Juggler and the Creeper are actually
I'm not sure.
okay. I
actually.
mean,
It's
both
just
were fine.
They're both like
right?
so like great in the situation. What do you think, Ikov? Which play do you
Well,
think is better?
the play that AKAWonder made with the Keeper Voldemort, it applied, it put the same amount of attack on the board basically, and also applies more pressure immediately. So
Look at that draw.
wow.
The
Yeah,
Mysterious Challenger right in before, like, this is the crucial turn. When you know that you don't have Mysterious Challenger, you don't have that insurance, right? You don't have that insurance that there's at least one blocker.
Yeah. Oh, that's kind of bad. Look, actually, he could have traded the Leopard Gnome into the 1/2, and then he denies the Mysterious Challenger. That would have been sick.
The Noble Sacrifice, right?
He denies the Mysterious Challenger because he will have 7 minions on board, right?
Oh yeah, right. But
He's gonna do that now. But I mean, like, obviously,
but
he's still gonna
what's
die.
the point?
He's still gonna die to the
He
7
will try.
minions. He's still gonna die to the 7 minions, but then you can play a Mysterious Challenger.
Great plan.
There's no plan. I mean, what can you do now?
I want to highlight that I think, if I'm not mistaken, so far, the only time that Shaman won was
Is when
against
Zoomer-
Shaman.
Oh,
Really?
was it?
Yeah, I think Shaman lost every game except for the mirror in this tournament.
Well,
Wow.
then Shaman is a good class against Shaman.
He's gonna stay that way too because it's the last Shaman in the tournament, right? AKAWonder is gonna advance to the final and is gonna play against
It looks like so,
Silver Name, and
because
Silver Name doesn't have a Shaman.
Mysterious Challenger
Yeah.
seals the deal.
The well played being thrown out by Espumito, and yeah, it seems very grim. I mean, unless we see a miracle elemental destruction out of nowhere.
But even that, it's like 4 to 5, right?
I don't think he even has it in the deck.
Even if he had
So-
it, it's like the Challenger is gonna get avenged and it's over.
I would have to lava burst it.
Still a solution, but then you skip the next turn. So
Oh wow, nice snipe. I mean, pretty irrelevant, but still nice snipe.
I like how you say that. Oh, that was a nice move. Too bad it's completely useless. Well, it looks like we know the second finalist. AKAWonder holds the smile though. He is.
He already
nervous.
packs up his stuff. He knows. He knows he's gonna win
Look
this.
at that psychic battle.
Yes.
It's like in South Park. Look at the AKAWonder right now. He's like, oh, I'm crushing you with my force of will. And the force of will is actually Mysterious Challenger. Well, just deal damage. There's
Yeah, his number is like up 2, right?
just deal damage and
Play boom, that's nice.
play boom man. Or you can even just play Noble Sacrifice.
Look
Oh,
how
he knows
hard
there's,
this
there's
is.
already one double sack actually. He can't play it because
Oh,
he
yeah,
has-
there's
he has-
sack-
he has-
there's
there's
secret?
there's still one left.
Oh,
on
okay.
the-
Then never mind. That's it. We know the second the second finalist of the tournament.
AKAWonder doing the fist pumps. He knows he earned himself a final spot as well as an additional, what was it, $2,000?
$2,000,
Yeah.
and he has guaranteed 10 points, and he will be batting for 5 points additionally, because it's 15 for the first place, 10 for the second place, and $5K dollars for the first place in the tournament. Also, the champion title. And I think for AKAWonder, this is very important to have the title. It's not about the money. He is like already in a lot of top finishes, but he still lacks a champion title, right? So that's his eye on the prize. Look at, I like how
Yeah,
players are
very
reacting
excited.
to games. That this is really cool to see a player that actually has some emotions, you know.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. AKAWonder, definitely a very emotional player. After his game against, after his quarterfinals game against Doki, he actually was really upset because of like how the game almost turned out, but he got the
Yeah.
reverse sweep in the end, so he was elated about that. He already was in his mind out of the tournament after that 0-2 being 0-2 behind.
Of course.
And yeah, now that AKAWonder is in the finals, he has got to be feeling really confident to actually take this whole thing down.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing against Silvername, right? And those, I would say that AKAWonder and Silvername were my favorites in this tournament because they were, first of all, most known to our community, right? And Silvername is known for grinding out the ladder, having high finishes, and he's also a streamer, so you actually know that he is consistent while doing that, right? So it seems like the best possible outcome for the grand finals. I'm really happy for that, to see actually pretty good two players playing against each other.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's going to be a very prestigious finals as well. If Silvername makes it here, he might be the next breakout star potentially, and if AKAWonder makes it, it's going to be like really the emphasis on his really strong year 2015. He will get so much rating on the Gozo Gamers rankings.
Oh my god, this points! He's raking on those points.
Yeah, I mean it is relevant because it's like it is the measuring stick, to be honest, in the competitive scene so far.
Yeah, well,
so.
it's the only measuring
But
stick
I
so
think
far.
it just feels really good to win a tournament, especially when you go to the top 8 a lot of times and it's like always like eludes you. Like this first victory, it just like means a lot. So I think that's what
Yeah, it definitely feels good to win a tournament. Like it's a really, and like you said, it's much more important for him most likely than the money. It's just so important to have that win because the winners always get so much more respect than everyone else who was in the top 8. I mean, all those players, to be honest, deserve the respect.
We would like to change the way that the players are being perceived, right? We would like to emphasize that those top 8 players already earn the respect and they should be recognized in the community. But unfortunately, for in most cases, only the winner is being the player that is being like imprinted into the mind, right, to the community.
That is true. History is written by the winners, and AKAWonder really wants that win because of that fact.
Okay, guys, we'll be going to a short break, so it was cool casting this game, but now it's time for the grand finals. But before the grand finals, we'll be having a short break, so don't don't go anywhere. This is IAM Katowice 2016 ESL Legendary Series.
One of the newest